All right. So the next part of the lesson, I'm just going to continue with the lecture. This is not in your notes. I didn't provide that component. However, I do want you to listen. When I typically give you a lecture, the power words that I want you guys to read are in color red. So as I go through this PowerPoint, reading the notes to you, I just want you to keep in mind the power words, just so you can have an understanding of what I'm lecturing. Okay. All right. In deserts, scarcity of water means that people cannot live there without bringing in water from other places. So the areas are not heavily populated. So as I told at the beginning, all civilizations, all towns, all communities always sprout next to water sources. Without water, then there's going to be chances are that you're going to have basically little to no people living there. And in the Sahara Desert, this part of Africa, you'll find one of the lowest population levels. It also means that people cannot rely on farming for food or money because crops do not grow without water. And again, we discussed that water is an essential source of life. Okay, without any water sources, you cannot provide any water for crops. You cannot provide any water for animals, and it's going to be very difficult. The exception is an area in the desert known as an oasis where there is a source of water. These areas can support human settlement and even farming. Deserts may have minimal resources that can be economically useful. Climate change and overpopulation have led to desertification of some of the savanna regions as well. And we already discussed climate change last unit on the effects on the earth. So as you can see, this is a prolonged initiative we're going to have to encounter and confront. Two famous deserts in Africa are the Sahara and the Kalahari desert in the south. So the Sahara is right here on this part of Africa. This is remember in Africa there's two main regions that we discussed before. Okay, take a few seconds to think about which two regions are we talking about. All right, so in Africa we have North Africa, which is basically where the Sahara Desert region is at, and then we have Sub-Sahara Africa. So below the Sahara Desert, remember what does the prefix sub mean? That means below. So Sub-Sahara means below. So below Sahara is the Sub-Sahara region. So we have two famous deserts, the Sahara right here, and then we have the Kalahari Desert right here. Savannas are tropical grasslands that support farming and grazing. This is the type of area that the movie The Lion King is set in. It is where you'll find a vast array of wild animals, including lions, elephants, giraffes, etc. These animals attract both hunters and tourists. Okay, so you have a picture right here that I provided so you can see what a savanna looks like. And I also provided an image from the Lion King film. Okay, so the movie The Lion King is based on Africa, the region, the setting, so you can see the similarities and just make those inferences. Okay. All right, rainforests are hard to travel through, so isolated communities develop within them. Rainforests can be cut down for farming, but their soil is not very fertile and won't support crops for long. Left healthy, rainforests supply timber, medicinal plants, fruit, nuts, and the most biodiversity on the planet. The biodiversity of plants and animals attracts tourists and can provide food for hunters. So in Africa, this will be the region where you have the highest concentration of rainforest. So this will be the only part of Africa. Okay. So this is just images of the rainforests you'll find in Africa. All right. Mountains are extremely difficult to cross or travel through. So mountain communities tend to be isolated, and people who live on different sides of the mountain tend to be cut off from one another. Take it 5 seconds or 10, but 5 to 10, 8 seconds. What type of map is this? If you said that this is a physical map, then you're correct. So a physical map, remember they show you landforms, rivers, lakes, and so on, or also elevation. So this one right here is showing you the elevation of Africa, where you can find the highest mountains. Okay. All right. While mountains may have fertile soil, their steep, rocky land usually makes it difficult to farm. So large populations rarely develop. Mountains are also colder at higher elevations, which requires people and animals to adjust. So we discussed last time about Where are you gonna find the lowest amount of people living? So we had deserts, and we had mountains. High elevation makes it difficult to raise crops and also to make a living. And in deserts, again, you have no water. There's less resources, so again, it's gonna make it much more difficult. All right. Rift valleys form. Okay, so this is a rift. We talked about landforms in the first unit. Okay, so notice that this is a rift valley. So what do we see? You see mountain, mountain, and you see this gap right here. So rift valleys formed due to the movement of tectonic plates, which separated, creating cracks in the Earth's crust. Rift valleys often have lakes, which support wildlife, farming, and agriculture, and attract human settlement. Okay, so this is one of the Great Rift Valley right here. So you can see the traces of the one in Africa right here. Okay. And again, so you can see much more of the view of what it looks like. All right, so that concludes the lecture for this part of the lesson.